is called the skirt. This part of leather transitions the top part of the saddle to the lower flap and covers the structural component of the stirrup bar. The gullet is a very important part of the saddle to take into consideration when fitting the saddle. The gullet is designed to allow for a channel over the horse's spine and clear the sides of the vertebrae. Underneath the rider's seat are the panels. The panels are usually filled with wool or foam or other materials and bring comfort to the horse's back. There are 3 important pieces of equipment that we use to communicate with our horse: the halter, the bridle, and the saddle. Let's talk about the saddle. Here is a dressage saddle, and here is a jumping saddle. On the top part of the saddle, there are 3 main parts. The front of the saddle is called the pommel. This is called the seat where we sit, and the back of the saddle is called the cantle. It's important that the pommel, the front of the saddle, has at least 3 fingers before the horse's spine, what we call the withers, so that it fits comfortably on for the horse. The next part of the saddle is called the seat, and the seat is where you sit. You want to sit comfortably in the saddle, not leaning forward or back, feeling balanced and sitting comfortably. The back of the saddle is called the cantle, and the cantle can be a little higher for a deeper seat or a little flatter, depending on how you'd like to sit in your saddle. We measure the saddle from here to the middle of the cantle. Most English saddles are between 16 and 18 inches in size. In the front of the saddle, in front of the pommel, I like to attach for beginners something called a grab strap. The grab strap is attached to the D-rings on each side of the pommel, and in case a beginner rider gets unseated or loses their balance, they can use this for security to help them feel safe and to stay in the saddle. Below the skirt is called the flap. Flaps come in all shapes and sizes depending on the style of English saddle. It is designed to create a comfortable position for the rider's legs. The front part of the saddle is called the knee roll. The knee roll is where the rider places their knee, and it gives them comfort and security. The stirrup leather connects the stirrup iron to the stirrup bar in the saddle, and it can be adjusted depending on your height. Stirrup irons are what the rider will balance their foot in when riding to help disperse their weight on the horse's back. The stirrup pad is where the rider will put the ball of their foot in the stirrup. The end of the stirrup leather should be placed in the stirrup leather keeper before riding. These are called the billets or the girth straps. These are a structural component of the saddle and very important that they are checked for damage on a regular basis. Billets are connected to the saddle's tree and often come in a set of 3 on the saddle. Even though we only use 2 straps to connect to the girth, the third is there in case one breaks or you need to change the direction of pressure on the saddle. These are called the billet guard, and you always want to make sure the billet guard is pulled over the girth so that the metal pieces don't hurt the flap. This is the girth. The girth, in simple terms, is the horse's belt. The girth attaches to the billet guards here and goes underneath the horse's belly. The girth needs to be tight enough to keep the saddle secure and in its proper place, but not too tight where it brings the horse discomfort. The saddle pad is a piece of fabric that protects the horse's back from friction and protects your saddle from the horse's sweat. The saddle pad can be an essential part of the horse rider look. Dressage saddles, you use a longer or bigger saddle pad, whereas hunter jumpers use a smaller saddle pad. And I really like cotton thin saddle pads so that you can easily wash them.